Welcome to the Cybele Health podcast, where we share science-backed tools and expert insights to empower women's health and elevate their lives. Hello, my name is Zara. I'm the host of Cybele Health podcast. In this episode, I want to talk about why I quit Apple, how I prepared myself for this new change, and how I came up with the idea of a startup around women's health. And last but not least, if a startup is the right move for you. A little background about me. I am an AI expert by education and profession. I did my undergrad and grad in computer science, and then I moved to US to do my PhD in machine learning. My PhD dissertation was applying machine learning for healthcare, and that was my first exposure to healthcare as an engineer. And I immediately felt the importance of combining technology and healthcare and how it can improve people's lives from the first hand. Every week we had meetings with doctors, nurses, and the patients that they have been treating, and we will give them feedbacks about how technology and AI and the models that we've been training can help them improve the outcome of the health of the care that they were providing. So the idea was that if we can use technology and specifically AI to predict if there is going to be a health decline in their patients, so instead of being reactive, now we enable them to be proactive. And that's the main idea that we have at Cybele Health. We want to be proactively take care of ourselves. So if there is going to be any decline in our health state, we can prevent that. I am also a mom of two girls, little ones in elementary age, and I truly understand how does it feel like and what sort of challenges we face on a daily basis, being as a woman, as a professional woman, and as a busy mom. And I really want to use technology to help you as it helped me to overcome those challenges. And instead of surviving, we can thrive. We can be at a better health state. We can have a better feeling about our body, ourselves, and we can also thrive in our profession, achieve higher results, and really perform at the really best level that we can. So today, I want to share with you my career journey as a professional immigrant woman, as a busy mom, and as an entrepreneur. So I also experienced the same journey, immigrating to US, continuing education here, achieving really good results through really, really hard work. And then I graduated. I decided that I want to take a break and I want to start a family. So we welcomed our first child. And then a year later, I joined Apple as a machine learning engineer. So I was working on the same set of AI and technology-wise, the same set of machine learning models that I was working during my dissertation. And I really loved that. It was not easy. I also faced lots of challenges, especially with the pandemic, because that time I had my second one. She was 4 months old when we hit the pandemic. So I had to take care of a 4-month-old baby, a 4-year-old, and work from home. All happening at the same time. Definitely, it was a challenging moment for me and for our family, as it was for all of us. So I started to looking into more tools and resources to help me manage my life from all levels, from personal health, physical health, mental health, all the way to my professional workflow, all the way to providing care for my family, especially my two little ones. So I started digging and doing more research and trying so many different tools and apps and resources. And I experienced so many different inefficiencies in the whole system. And I truly believe all of those inefficiencies are due to several reasons. One being that women were not in mind when they designed those tools or system at the beginning. So the set of challenges that they claim they are helping you to solve are specifically focused towards men, not a woman. And why does it make a difference? Because as women, we go through so many different hormonal changes. So it's really important to consider that as an important factor in our lives, in the way that we eat, our digestion system, our body, our mind, even the way that we feel, our perspective, it really, really impacts all aspects of our lives. So it's really important to consider that when you are designing a product for a user, then that user could be a woman who is going through different changes. And not to mention that some of us are trying to get pregnant, some of us are going through pregnancy, some of us are in the postpartum, probably breastfeeding, and all of these introduce more challenges to our system. Yes, I know it's difficult and it's challenging. It's a very sophisticated system, but just because it's difficult doesn't mean that we cannot do anything about it. And I didn't like that perspective, and I didn't accept that as an answer because I knew deep down from the experience that I did in my PhD and from my personal experience that things could be much better. The other thing that contributes to this inefficiency in the whole ecosystem of healthcare in general is the one-size-fits-all approach. Unfortunately, our current healthcare system in the US and also elsewhere in the whole world is a very one-size-fits-all approach. That means that regardless of what is your background, what are you dealing with, what are your circumstances, everybody has been seen through the same lens and has been treated the same way. And then we expect everybody to get the same result. And that's not going to happen. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So I decided to start doing some experiments as a scientist. So I started to digging more into academic papers who are doing more advanced technology and practicing those advanced technology in the field of health and wellness. The other thing that I really would like to do, and even before that, when I was doing experimenting, was always in my mind was that as a human, we are one individual, we are one object, right? But we have different components, and all of those things work at the same time, and there is a synergy between them. Our mental health is connected to our physical health, and our physical health is connected to our mental health. And as a woman, everything is around our hormonal changes at the same time. So for those, I was juggling between so many different apps, counting my number of steps, how well I'm sleeping, how much water I'm intaking, what is my nutritional intake, what is my mental health status, what is my period stage. But you name it. There were like more than 10 apps. At some point, I needed another app to manage all of those apps, and that made no sense because the synergy between them were missing. So that was the whole idea, that how we can incorporate everything together at one platform, that they can work seamlessly together and understand each other, understand how does it mean to connect with each other as a one human, as a like whole body, and have a holistic view of health. But I also know that AI cannot be in full control. We cannot set ourselves at autopilot and let all the controls with the AI. So I want to keep the human in the loop. So I started conversation with healthcare providers from mental health to physical health, and I interviewed a lot of them. And then I realized that some of these challenges is because even healthcare providers are human. They are burned out. There are lots of inefficiency in the system and tools that is provided for them. And simply, they don't have that capacity to be engaged and to have a full understanding of each client to provide a better care. So that was an aha moment for me, because I realized that, okay, so if I enable providers via technology, via advanced AI tools that we are building, and I knew that we can build, if I enable providers to have a 360 view of the patients, then they can provide a better help and they can suggest a better care. And together, we can solve this problem. We provide a holistic approach of health. As a woman, we consider your hormonal changes, we consider your menstrual cycle, we consider what you eat, we consider which culture you are coming from. This is also another important factor. Whatever we eat, however we do exercise, and however we are putting perspective into everything in our lives, starting from our personal life to our career life to everything else around it, is really impacted by our culture, the culture that we grew up with and the culture that we live in today. So we also consider that as a very important factor in all of our AI modeling. And also, what is your career? Because as you know, your career imposes a specific set of challenges and stress, not only in your mind, but also in your body. I, as a software engineer, spend lots of hours in a day sitting, just working on my computer. So that impacts my posture, my shoulder, my neck, all the way through my spine, and even through my legs. And for some other woman who probably is a nurse, walking a lot, working with her hands a lot. For another person who probably is in education system and is a teacher, she's interacting a lot, talking a lot. So all of these different career impacts different set of stress in our body and also in our mind. So we cannot just treat everybody through the same approach. So that's why it's important to consider all of that as an important factor in our lives. Those of us who are trying to get pregnant, those of us who are freezing our eggs, those of us who are already pregnant, or those of us who are in birth control, all of that is really important in considering how to manage your life, how to plan for your life. And we are considering all of those information in our mobile app, which we are working on it and will be releasing soon to collect information. These information are not shared with anybody. It's only on your control. You can only control it, and you can decide who can have access to what. And that's the main factor that we are considering. User privacy and user control of their medical data is our topest priority. Considering all of that, I started doing some prototyping and testing some of that on myself in terms of creating healthier habits. How can I create a healthier habits for myself? How can I use AI, collect my information, collect my data, and use that to build a healthier life habits? We as a woman need to also be very proactive about the time when we have to face menopause and all of that, thing and conversation around it. So lots of studies has shown that if you are being proactive about it, if you have a healthier lifestyle, and the sooner the better, you can manage your symptoms much better. So you can reduce your symptoms up to 85%. I repeat that again. You can reduce all of the menopause symptoms up to 85% if you start early building healthier life habits. And that's not only that, it's also you start to feeling much proactive. Before that, I had to take 4 or 5 cups of coffee just to give me enough energy to get through my day. Before that, I didn't have a good night's sleep. If I was lucky, I would be able to sleep 3 hours. I would wake up a lot. I sweat a lot. I had to pee a lot. I had to do so many different things, and my sleep was not restless. I woke up in the day, I felt like very tired. I felt like I want to sleep the whole day. Before that, I didn't have energy to go to gym and work out. Workout was like a big, big mountain in front of me, which felt like I can never climb it. Before that, I was not very mindful about my diet. I would just grab whatever was easier and faster for me to eat. And unfortunately, in the US, the nutrition system is broken, and nutrition is your medicine. And I felt that impact in my life physically and mentally. All the symptoms of my menstrual cycle went away, which was very horrible before that. So I started to digging more into it, and I started to doing more research, and I started to prototyping a platform, a tool that enabled me to have a better understanding of my routine and then help me to build healthier life habits. Now, speaking of life habits, it's very difficult to change habits because once you build a habit, it will be built into your muscle, It will be built into every single cell in your body, and it will be built into your brain. Your brain functions through that habit without burning any energy. They just, act on it without even thinking. The brain of us, our brains love it because they don't have to burn any energy. So what can we do to break a habit, an old habit, which is not healthy, and build a new one? Our body definitely will resist. Our body does everything they can to avoid you from breaking an old habit that they already know. It's their comfort zone, right? So it's like their comfort zone. We are happy with it. We know how it works. Please don't change it. Well, we want to change it. So we will face that resistance mentally and physically. Now, how we can change it, how we can be more successful at it, is by starting with a very atomic changes, very small, tiny changes. And that's where AI can help you. Why? Because through the collecting of all of your data and our model, we already know what are your habits. We already know what are you doing. And we already know where are the points that you need to change. So we start introducing very small baby steps changes that, yes, it takes some energy. You will feel some resistance, but it is very mellow. It's very low. You can easily overcome that resistance. You can easily, with some level of dedication and discipline, you can easily overcome that, and you can keep moving forward. And each week by week, depending on your hormones levels, we are not measuring anything, we are not testing anything. It all depends on your start date and end date of your menstrual cycle. And also, if you are on a specific stage of your life, about pregnancy, or if you are taking any hormonal medications, and those are the only factors that we collect. Other than that, is all of that models and AI works based on that. So with respect to all of these information, we try to introduce smaller baby steps changes that will begin introducing a healthier life habits that will stick to your body lifelong. So you don't have to spend a lot of energy just fighting with yourself to start building healthier life habits, and you will not go through so many ups and downs. It will be more effective. Every time that you want to do something really hard, you have to break it into smaller steps, and you have to do one thing at a time, right? So it's the same approach. So that's what we do at Cybele Health, and that was the idea. I started that with myself. I tried that with myself, and it worked really, really well. I had so many energy. I was very sharp at my work. I got promotion within 3 months. I was really performing really well. I lost 30 pounds in only 3 months. Even I couldn't believe it. And I was at the best shape of myself physically, mentally, that I have ever been in the last 6 years or so. I started sharing that with my friends. I started testing that on my friends and my female colleagues, and they all got the same good results. And they started to pushing me that you have to provide that for the whole world. This is really amazing. It works like magic, and we couldn't see anything like that before. So please provide that to the whole world. So that's why I started to thinking more serious about that this could be something bigger, something that has a bigger impact, something that will be a legacy that I can leave behind. So I started talking to people from the technology side, people from the healthcare side, and through so many interviews and discussions, I finally realized that this really could have a business side to it. And then I started to think more seriously about it. And the whole thing took me around 2 years. I want to know that it's not like entering into entrepreneurship journey, especially if you have already experienced working at a big corporate system. It's not like one morning you wake up and you come up with an idea and boom, that's it, you sign your resignation. No, it's not like that. You have to really do your homework. You have to really try it, test it, and feel how does it look like to work at so many different levels and so many different things that so much of those are not the areas that you have education or even skill set in it. So you have to get yourself at least familiar with that and then decide, and that's what I did. And it took me 2 years. And then after that, I started the conversation with my manager, finally departed from Apple and started working on that full time. But even after I left, I started to take a break because I needed a break to clear my mind from everything that was going on in the last 2 years and start to fully dedicate myself, laser focus on that. So I did take a break for 3 to 4 months and I started to networking a lot. I started to talking to a lot of people because nobody can build a startup with only one person. I needed to build a team and started to doing that, going through so many networking events, and I started to talking to people. And then through recommendations and friends of a friends of a friends in LinkedIn, in social media, and also for in-person events, I started to build up a team. Today, we are 6 incredible women working together from all the spectrum of marketing and business side to the technology to the healthcare. And we are working together, and we just launched our platform, which is currently only a web app, so you can access it through a web browser. Can visit our platform and create an account and join. So that was my journey. I had lots of ups and downs. I had lots of bad days and a few of good days, mostly bad days, because it's very challenging, because this is my first time doing this, and because I had no experience dealing with business side. I was always on the engineering side. I always knew how we can improve things, how we can build things, but I didn't know how to surface it to other people, how to talk about it to other people. I was more of an introvert. It took me a while to feel comfortable sitting in front of camera and talking to you. It took me a while to feel comfortable about my accent, even talking and hearing my audio recording. So definitely it was a journey for me, and it has been almost 2 years, 1.5 year, 2 years since I left Apple, but 1.5 year that I've been working on that, days and nights and weekends and weekdays. And people think that they come out of their corporate job and now their time is theirs. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to report to anybody. But guess what? A startup is completely the opposite. You have no off days. You have no sick days. Their working hours is like from whenever you open your eyes until whenever you close your eyes, and if you can sleep. And then you have to be reporting and answering questions from everybody. Think about it. You're going to have customers that you have to convince that your product is a good one. You have other people that you can convince that it's worthy for them to spend their time working on your idea and your project. You have to convince investors that have money to believe in you and put their money a bit on you, basically. So, and all of those people have so many questions, and your answers are not like this is the answer. No, they are gonna challenge you. But that's the fun part of it. That's the platform that gives you that opportunity to grow and expand in so many different levels that you couldn't have imagined. Yes, it is hard, but I think and I truly believe that it's worth it. It's worth every sweat. It's worth every sleepless night. It's worth every party that you had to escape because you had these meetings with an important person for your startup. And we are going to create a really good role model for our next generation, for our children, to see what does it mean to create something out of nothing. So that was my journey. I hope you learned something new. So I think that I covered most of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. There is one more thing, is that how do you know if a startup is right for you? And I have been asked this question a lot, especially when I go to events and I talk to people. I start like about my journey coming from a very high profile job into this unknown world, especially as a woman and especially as a mother. I've been asked a lot that how did you do it? How did you know this is the right move? The honest answer is that I didn't. I didn't know if it's gonna work. I still don't know if it's gonna work. And I didn't know if it's gonna be the right move for me. I didn't know if it's gonna be the right move for our family. Because at the end of the day, I have responsibility for my family, for my husband, for my kids. I did not know that. I was not sure about that. But something that I know is that this could have a chance. and I probably can make a difference. So I trusted my gut feeling. Deep down, I knew that I overcome so many challenges. Um, and at the beginning of that challenge, I didn't know if I could do it. For me, coming to US where I had no support, zero friends, zero family members, it was a challenge and it was a big one. None of the persons in my family have immigrated before. It was a really big challenge. I didn't know if I could do it. But deep down, I like take on that challenge. And I said, what's the worst to come? I will come back. And then I did my PhD. I wasn't sure if I can go through all of those years of PhD and publishing papers and doing really on top of the edge, pushing the boundaries of technology and all of that. I was not sure, but I tried and I did my best and I worked really hard and I was able to do it. I published 15 papers, 2 of them won awards. One of them was selected as the cover of IEEE magazine. So, even when I did it, I couldn't believe it that I did it. Even when I graduated with that PhD, with those honors, I still wasn't sure if I can join a big company like Apple working on a very high, top of the market industry level. But I did, and I was really good at it. And I was the tech lead. At the end, I was reporting to directors. I was working on secret projects. I always faced a challenge and I was not sure. And I think that's the nature of us as a human to not be sure, and that's okay. At least we're honest with ourselves, right? But I always challenge myself to do something that I wasn't sure if I can do it. And that's how you expand and that's how you grow. That's how you learn new skills by trying. And obviously, I had so much failures. Oh my gosh, I had so much failures. At each of those steps, I was like failing like miserably. Even even today, even at this stage, there are so many days that I fail. I make bad decisions, and that's okay. So I think about it as a new way, a new lesson that I didn't know before. So this is a new way that's not going to work. Check. So we are not going to do that again. So failing is okay. Learning something from that is the most important part. What can I learn from that mistake that helps me to grow even bigger? So for you, if you don't know, it's all right. You don't have to make the decision now. And for you, if you know, but you're not sure, it's also all right. You can spend some time thinking about it. So one thing that I did that I can recommend to you guys is that start doing that as a side hustle. I know you don't have time, but that's the reality of running a startup or even joining a startup. There are so many tasks and so many things that you have to do that you don't have time for it, and you have to make time for it. And how do you do that? It's a art. It's really an art. You have to learn how to do it. You have to learn how to not sacrifice yourself. Your health is the most top priority of everything else. You are not going to sacrifice yourself, or you're not going to sacrifice the most important relationships in your lives. But still, at the same time, you're going to learn how to do things more efficiently. You are going to learn so many different tools that can help you to achieve the same thing that you have been done before. Maybe in 3 hours, now it takes you 1 hour because you are doing a lot of things more efficiently. You're going to learn more tools that can help you to do that. You are going to learn how to delegate stuff to other people. You don't have to do every single thing by yourselves, and that's a managing skills. And if you want to work at a startup and if you want to grow, you have to learn that how you can manage people to do things and replicate yourself, right? So that's something that you can try. Start that as a side hustle, whatever it is. Start like even a blog post talking about it, reading about it, and summarize it and talking about it. Start with conversations, like create a page, I don't know, in social media, or create a blog post, or create a YouTube channel, or, a podcast. Just talk about it, have a conversation about it. Start with going to the events that people who are in that category are talking about that, so you can still hear about what they are doing. So those are the things that can help you to understanding what is that ecosystem look like. How can you imagine yourself fitting in that ecosystem? How does it feel like? Can you live through that for the next 10 or 15 years? Because remember, a startup is not 1 or 2 or 3. It's a 10 years, 15 years journey. So can you imagine yourself going through that? And where do you want to be in 10 years? So you have two choices, either staying in your current position or work whatever it is, and then you can see what is your forecast for the next 10 years staying in there, or you can change it and start a startup and see what is going to be the forecast for that, either failing, trying something else, failing, trying something else, and one of those finally will succeed, where you are going to be that time and then, in the next 10 years, or um, your current job. And that will give you a good understanding of if you're ready for it or not, if how well you can accept the challenges. Start accepting a smaller version of those challenges today. Start talking about it. Start going to the events and talking to unknown faces. That was a challenge for myself, to be honest. I was not feeling like, there is a person, and how do I start the conversation? I wasn't sure, and that was something that I take it on myself as a challenge and started talking about that. So yeah, that's it about me, my journey, and my startup. I hope you learned something new. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment. And if you are interested to know more, please visit our website at Cybele Health, Cybele, cybelehealth.com. Join our wait list. We will be opening our platform soon for everybody. We are now currently doing beta testing, but we will be opening our platform soon for everybody. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a very beautiful rest of the day. And until next time, don't remember, take care of yourself. Bye.